um, generally our mind operates in two ways. One is you say, oh, rituals are so good and I'm so committed to rituals. Or you can say, oh, I hate them. So that means we have what? Two opinions. What this whole Vedanta is an exercise into what? Becoming more nuanced in our thinking. Because more nuanced in our thinking. Because unless you become nuanced in your thinking, you can't figure out the final reality. So what it first shows is what? That it is what? Important. Because it has a role to play. Anything that you understand, you need to what? Physically express it. Only then it becomes reality. Otherwise it just remains some idea in your head. So that way rituals are important. Then what we saw is, then we make one statement, rituals are important. Then what? You need to become nuanced and you need to qualify it. And you say, but at times there is a danger. So that means you are what? You say that, okay, but when there is a danger, the danger is that ritual, sometimes people become what? Orthodox. Orthodox means they can't see anything beyond ritual. And any ritual that you do or any activity that you do, there are details of that activity. Yeah. So when there are details of the activity, people become so particular and so rigid, they can't see anything beyond that.
There is no flexibility.
There is no flexibility. There is no overall picture. People get completely caught in the details and they miss what? The bigger picture. And what I showed you is the whole ritual becomes more of rules rather than connecting to Ishvara. That's when it can go wrong. So that means you have to qualify. It is good, but when it becomes like that, then what? It is something that it loses its purpose. Then there is another thing where actually here in this verse, which is verse 9, it is saying there is another also danger. Let's say you are taking it with a bigger perspective of connecting to Ishvara, and by doing so you are connected and you are aligned. What will happen to you is what? More and more you will begin to see more and more abundance in your life. Abundance. In so many different ways.
When you take it, say
when you take it in a right way, which is what, like the bigger picture behind ritual, and you say it is my expressing my connection, you do it like that, then what happens is life or the universe starts responding to what, in the long run, to this persistent act that you have been doing and the persistent change in the way of your thoughts and actions in the universe. So it will respond. So how will it respond? It will respond with what? Abundance. It will respond with just blessing you. It will make you. Sometimes it is interesting. You see these Vedic boys from the age of 8. They just go to Veda Pathshala and the only thing they do is learn how to chant the Vedas, Sanskrit and everything. And you see their faces. They are like completely
focused,
glowing. Completely glowing faces. It's just quite interesting to see them. Yeah. So you see it in a proper light and you can really benefit from that. But then there is another danger. What? You get stuck in that paradigm, which is what? I do more and more and more rituals and there I will get what?
Abundance. More.
Exactly. More and more abundance. And this verse is saying, in this way, you all, in fact, if you look at life beyond earth, you can become what? A Devata. Devata means what? It's an exalted entity. So we have, Devatas are what we say is, life is not only on this earth. There are what? So many places on this earth where what? Where life exists. So we talk about what? 7 lokas above earth. Why is it above earth? In terms of what? You have better bodies and you have what? Better objects to enjoy. So therefore, you become what finer and finer in your experiences. So that means you go to a higher and higher loka, and in that higher and higher loka, you have more and more pleasures, more refined pleasures. So therefore, what can then happen is, the aim of life becomes what? Just going to those higher lokas and enjoying the pleasures. So this is again another catch, because what is supposed to be the real goal of life? To attain moksha. And what is attaining moksha? You recognize all that is here is I. You don't want to travel in the universe as one little entity and go to better places. That what is not the ultimate purpose of life. So therefore, there is a big debate between what we call Purva Mimamsaka and Uttara Mimamsaka. Uttara Mimamsaka is Vedanta, and Purva Mimamsaka is what? They are also looking at the Veda, but for them, the only purpose of the Veda is, through doing these rituals, go to what? Better lokas. So according to the Purva Mimamsaka, the only thing is what? You do more prayers, you do more alignment, you do more rituals, and it will take you what? To better and better places. Hereafter.
It's like a CEO, you will do CEO, but not the all.
Exactly. Yeah.
It can be like heaven, something like that.
So exactly. So these are all what we call Swarga. Swarga is kind of heaven, but we don't have what? Only one heaven, we have 7 levels. Because see, the thing is, Rashna, when you do a good karma, what is a good karma? Either I can give you, let's say, some, at the time that you need help, I can give you some help, and that is a good karma. Or you can do what? A very strategic kind of intervention, like you start a foundation, you help so many people. So in that case, both of us have done good karma, but is it at the same level? No. So that means the good karmas that we do are also what? Graded. Because they are graded, they have to give you what? Different results, corresponding result. You can't say that when somebody fell down and I lifted that person, that's a good karma, but it is equivalent to somebody who started a hospital and what? Helped thousands of people. So that means we keep on what? Even in a good karma there are so many degrees, and in so-called not so good karma also what? There are so many degrees. So that means you get result not only for, see, that's where the whole thinking good karma, bad karma. But within good karma there is a whole big range, and within not so good karma also there is a whole big range. And for each of that you get a corresponding result. So now the whole purpose of life according to Purva Mimamsaka is what? You keep doing prayers, you keep doing rituals, you keep seeing your interconnectedness with the universe, and you keep performing actions, and what happens to you? You are blessed with what? Better bodies, you are blessed with better lokas. Then even when you come back on the earth, you are what? Born with certain privileges. So that's all they think the purpose of life is. So this is also a danger, because what happens is the minute you begin to align with the universe, things will start moving for you, but that itself can become what? A golden shackle. We saw it in the 3rd verse already. So the whole idea of life is what? To move forward and not to get stuck.
Evolution. Evolution to higher level.
Yeah, because even if you go to, let's say, a very high loka, you are still what?
Small.
Only one entity in the whole universe. And what is the reality about you?
Limitless.
You are limitless. So that means even if you have bigger than what you are now, still what is the distance between finite and infinity?
very big. One small thing.
Finite is limited, infinite is unlimited.
Exactly. So that means it is attractive, but it still keeps you what?
Small.
Small. So
That's
this
surplus
is
of
why.
Rather than death. That's
So exactly. So that is what we call samsara.
So what you're saying exactly is that when you're walking a path of spirituality, you get stuck here and start enjoying the greatness of this, and you consider this is everything.
Excellent. That's what I mean.
You get the concept. And you forget the real goal, what it is, self-realization.
Exactly. Exactly.
And you're engaged with objects only. Better and better
Absolutely.
and better objects.
Absolutely.
They're all
So
objects.
you are still a book, absolutely. So these are all the nuances that these verses talk about. That it is moving from its good and bad to what all the different things. That it is good, at the same time this is what the problem with it. Exactly as Viresh explained. You get stuck there and you forget the final goal. Yeah? Meditation is also the same thing. So the next verse, which is talking about meditation, also it shows that. It shows Anye eva ahuhu avidyayam bahu avidya iti shushruma dhiranam ye naha tat vichakshire. Okay? So here he says, even as karma, by definition, about this karmas like Agnihotra, they have, if your life is committed to that, it takes you away from the final goal. Similarly, meditation also does the same. Why?
It is correct. It is correct.
Absolutely. So what happens, what is the problem? Generally, when you go to any meditation class, what do they teach you?
No thoughts.
No thoughts.
Thoughtless.
Thoughtlessness. So that means the whole goal of life is to become what?
Without thoughts.
Not connected.
Exactly, not connected, no thoughts, away from everything else.
Going to sleep. Why not?
So that
At least when you
means,
sleep, you dream.
that means the whole goal of life is some, you define the goal of life, which is not at all what our teacher used to say, that thoughtlessness, we make it into such a big goal. Actually, every night when you have deep sleep, there is what? Thoughtlessness. For how long?
1 or 2 hours. Quite a few hours.
Quite a few hours. Let's say if you have
4
a deep
hours.
sleep for maximum 4 hours.
Yeah.
For 4 hours you are thoughtless. Have you become wiser?
No.
You have not become wiser. So that means in waking, you increase it more to a couple of more hours. Will you become wiser? No. So therefore, the meditation is that we all feel so attracted, as though meditation is going to get us there.
It's temporary.
Absolutely. Meditation is, it's two things. It is a temporary relief, because we are so cluttered with our thought life, and most of the time our thoughts are all over the place. So when we take a break, what happens? It is a release. It is a release for some time. But that doesn't mean, because the minute you come out of meditation, the same clutter continues. You haven't done anything to understand where the clutter is coming from and to undo that. You're just stopping it. So therefore, it is not going to fundamentally change anything. The second thing is, just by keeping quiet, will you come to know that you are limitless? It's impossible. Unless you expose yourself to a teaching where the teacher, as I told you, there is a whole leading process.
Teacher, you need a teacher for this.
Huh?
You need a teacher to guide you to the higher.
Exactly. You need a teacher. Otherwise, it's not possible. We are caught in our own paradigm, and from that paradigm, which is highly limited, we have to discover ourselves to be limitless. We have no tools. So just by keeping quiet, nothing is going to change.
But I learned in meditation one more thing, that when you meditate and you understand that everything arises from your awareness.
Very good.
And the second thing, you accept that situation and surrender.
Wonderful. So that means, very good. So just as Agnihotra is useful, but if you just make it as your end, then it is the same thing with meditation. Meditation is good. Nobody is saying meditation is bad. Meditation is very good. It has several purposes. So the first purpose, as I told in many classes of mine, the first purpose is to just basically, in our waking hours, today Roberto said that he slept in the meditation. And I told him that in our waking hours, we almost never experience complete relaxation. The only time that we completely relax is what? In the sleep. So therefore, in deep sleep. So now, in meditation, when somebody is trying to relax, the only familiar state of relaxation is what? Deep sleep. So we all fall asleep. So that's why ultimately, and that will happen. It happens to everyone. Therefore, over a period of time, you learn to be relaxed, not only in the deep sleep, but also what?
In the waking.
In the waking. When you're doing things, we generally think doing things means you're all hyper. And when you're not doing anything, you're relaxed. You have to change that definition. You can be extremely active and you can be what? Relaxed. That is, then you are what? Always totally relaxed. You can be doing so many things, and the more relaxed you are, you can do things what?
Better.
So therefore, this is one the training which makes you discover relaxation in waking hours, not only in deep sleep. The second thing that it does is somehow our mind goes from what? One thought to the other. So that means it keeps moving from one thought to the other, and in a day we have about 60,000 different thoughts. Now, if I don't have any kind of
Discipline.
if I have no agenda for the mind, wherever the mind goes, it is the right place. Yeah, because I don't have any aim for the mind. So in meditation through japa, as Surya is showing, Ishaya Namaha, what are we doing?
You deliberately bring the mind back to the...
Exactly. So what we are doing is, we are giving the task to the mind. We are saying, for next 10 minutes, we are not saying for the whole day, just next 10 minutes, what do? Just chant this mantra.
So when you are chanting, he's reminding all Ishaya Nama, then bring back the mind.
So what happens is, generally what will happen is, we are not used to what? A kind of a directed thought. So what will happen is, you try to chant Ishaya Namaha and your mind will go what?
Somewhere else.
Somewhere else. Then you think about some place like Kailash, then you think about Cambodia where you went and you saw this Shiva temple, so it will go all over the place. Then what you have to do? You say, you bring it back. When you bring it back, what happens is, over a period of time, before in 10 minutes, how many times it will go?
100 times.
Over a period of time, it will become what? 2 or 3 times, hopefully. Yeah. So, what have you done? As a result of this, what you have achieved is what? A mind which is able to stay on the subject matter, or wherever you want it, it will stay. This will help you not only in study of Vedanta, it will help you what?
Even otherwise in life.
Every aspect of your life.
Just training the mind.
It's just exactly
To concentrate when
Concentrate.
Even simple thing as somebody is speaking to you, you want to.
absolutely wonderful.
Yeah.
Even when somebody is speaking to you, most of the time,
People are like,
attention
yeah,
just wavers.
I've said this to you, and then they don't just like listen.
So by the time we talk, and by the time somebody else is talking, we are already thinking about what I'm going to say next or something else. So that means we are not at all with the all we are looking nowadays. Everybody
It's a
is
phone.
looking at mobile.
Yeah, looking at the phone and listening
Yeah.
also.
So that means we are nowhere. So that means we are unable to just be
Focus.
present and give our best in that moment. So that means this particular practice will help you. It will really help you. Whenever you want the mind to be in that given thing for a length of time, you will find that you are there. When you do that, you get what? Depth. There is a depth in our thinking. There is a depth in our being. So that is one very major benefit of meditation. Then what we do is, there is a third thing that we do in meditation which is very important. Because japa meditation is what? What is the first thought? Om Namah Shivaya. What is the second thought? Om. Same thought. By doing that, what we are doing is that there is a tendency of mind to what? Build a story. So not only move away, but we move away not to random thoughts, but to what? Building a story. So when you build a story, how long does it take you to build one big story?
Second.
It takes seconds for you to build stories. So that means you have one thought, then you have another thought, then you have another thought. In few seconds it becomes what? A big story. And many times those big stories take us away from realities. So therefore, how do you curb the tendency of the mind to build the stories which take you away from reality?
What's the question?
How do you curb the tendency of the mind to build one thought on the other and make a
So
story?
because I've been given chosen assignment of Om Namah Shivaya. So my intellect controls the mind and brings the mind back and focuses on deliberately on that particular.
Exactly. Because when you build the story, what happens is one thought gets built on the other, then that thought gets built on the other, then that thought gets built on the other. So here, what you are doing is, you are curbing that tendency of the mind to build thoughts. It is what, the first thought is what? Om Namah Shivaya. What is the second thought? Say.
Actually, Surya speaking out loud helps me come back here. It's build japa. I sort of fly away to some other place, but when it's
And
home,
then
you come
you
back.
come back.
So he helps in
Yes, exactly. That's why it's a guided meditation. So therefore, what you do is, you bring the mind back, and the minute you have less associative, associative thinking is something which is required, because when you go from standard 2 to standard 3, you build on what you have learned in standard 2. So that means associative thinking is not bad as such. But sometimes that associative thinking makes you build stories which are not true. Only that part is not good. So I just have just a small story, because it's good to.
Yeah, we love stories.
Yeah,
You remember the story.
We remember the story.
We forget everything. That's the thing. We forget everything. We only remember stories.
This is very important. It's about meditation. When you're going to visit tomorrow and you're not going to sleep, it's amazing. You must do it. Usually I suggest once.
Okay. So there is this very nice story which I read as a child, and that the name of the story was a Gujarati story. It was, and it was Ardho Papad. Papad is this papad, and Ardho is half. So half papad.
Papad. What we eat, that papad.
Chapati, we bread, you eat half.
That crispy
Papad,
papad.
that crispy stuff, not
They call them
rotis, but
papadams.
that other crispy
Papadums.
papadums,
Because they don't
But it's
have
half.
papadums.
but it's half.
Yeah.
So there was this, as a kid I read, so there was a story where one man goes to, we used to have jaman. Like jaman is what everybody is sitting and what people are serving. Yeah. So he went for a jaman, where a big luncheon, where food was being served.
It's a French way of serving.
Yeah.
Okay.
Table serving.
Table serving, yes. And then what was happening is like people were serving different things, and then people were also serving papadam. So everybody got one papad, and when it came to that person, he got half papadam. So the minute he got half papadam, he looked here, he looked there, everybody had
The full one.
full one, and he had half. So what did he do? He started telling, this host is so rude. This host is what deliberately giving me
this.
only half and giving one to everyone else. And he's mean, he's insensitive, and what happens is during the whole dinner, the only thing he thought about is what?
Half papa.
Half papad.
And he had a full meal.
While he had full meal, he was unhappy. While he was eating everything yummy, what was he thinking? Only of that half papad that was making him not enjoy the food at all. His mind was totally occupied with that. And the story. Then he goes home. He can't get rid of the story. So what he does is, he says, I have to show this man a lesson. He has been so insulting, he humiliated me in front of everyone, so I'm going to show him now. So he says, what should I do? He says, okay, I'm also going to, what?
Have a lunch.
Have a lunch, and I will serve him half papad. He will see how it will feel to be humiliated in front of everyone. So then he says, okay, but that lunch, if I call so many people, then I don't have enough money. So what he said, it doesn't matter. I'm going to work really hard. I'm going to really save the money, and I'm going to show him. So then he works really hard for 3-4 months.
To have this lunch.
And then he invites everybody for lunch. He says, yeah, now my time has come to show this person what is going to happen now. So what he does is, he sits everyone and he says, now I myself am going to serve the papad, and I'm going to give him half, and I'm going to watch his expression and see how it feels. So what happens is, he gives everyone full papad, and when it comes to that person, he gives half papad. What happened to that other person? Nothing. The person didn't even notice.
So he's heading downwards.
The person didn't even notice. It was a complete non-issue. He didn't even realize that, okay, here there is full papad, and here there is half papad. And it was not at all. So he says, what? Didn't you see something? So he says, what? He says, don't you see that this is half papad? So he says, yeah, so what? Then this man realized that what the whole story that he had created, and what he was totally occupied for 6 months is for the other person not at all an issue. And not at all an issue, and in fact, that was not done deliberately in the first place. It's not like the person was doing it, it was just like,
Random thing.
A random thing, exactly. So many times we read intentions which are not there. We build stories. And then, sorry? This is subjective. All our subjective reality is the
one thing, and
input comes from
input
outside.
comes one little thing,
One
and
little comes,
the intention goes so big, and make a
Exactly.
story of the
And
person.
a bigger story. So therefore, this is what by doing. So what from that half papad became, he humiliates me. Then I want to show him how it feels. So then that whole thing is what we call thinking through association and building more and more stories. By doing what? Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namah Shivaya. What are you doing?
You forget.
You create a mind when one thought is repeated several times. So what you're not doing is what you're not
Building up the story.
You're not building up. Over a period of time, your mind will become less and less mechanical and more deliberate. Objective. Deliberate. Your thought processes are deliberate. You don't say, oh, it just happened. It just happened is not, that means some part of you is mechanically operating. So that means you become more, when you make choices, they are thoughtful choices. Whether you are speaking or you are doing an act or you are thinking about something, you have to be careful. Every way. So therefore, this is one of the things, benefits of meditation. Then, what meditation does, it is, now this is a benefit. Vedanta meditation, as Viresh said, works with the teaching. It works with the teaching because over a period of time, the guided meditation of Vedanta will also, it will not ask you not to think anything. It will ask you to see the relationship that you have with the thoughts. With the thoughts. Om Namah Shivaya. Om Namah Shivaya. Are you there before the first chant has happened? Yes. Are you there when the chant is taking place? Yes. Are you there when the chant goes and there is silence? Yes. Are you there when the second chant comes? Yes. So that means what the thoughts come and go, and the presence, which is awareness, because of which you come to know what coming and going of different thoughts is something which is always with you. You don't need to look for it anywhere.
Also between the two thoughts there is a silence, and the silence builds the story actually.
So
if you are not careful.
So that means, they see, sometimes people think that the silence is, when there is silence, you are in touch with yourself. Actually, what we are saying is, you are always in touch with yourself.
Yeah, it's not.
Whether there is thought or whether there is silence.
Everything arises
you are
from that.
always. Exactly. So that means the I, in Mundaka Upanishad, it says, Pratibodha Viditam. Pratibodha Viditam Matam means, in every, don't look for yourself only in silence. Only in silence. Yourself is always there. When the thought is there, it's there. When there is silence, it's also there. It's the invariable presence which never can be displaced.
This is a very big issue, this thought continuing traveling with you. In your deep sleep and subconscious mind doesn't get out of it. So when sometimes it's stuck to you, like a story would.
Yeah. So therefore, the meditation along with proper teaching of Vedanta will what help you. Later on, the next step of meditation in Vedanta is when you see the meaning of the chant. What is the meaning of chant? What does it mean Om Namah Shivaya? What does it mean Om Ishaya Namaha?
Salutations.
Salutations to Ishvara. So that means we are not used to seeing the presence of Ishvara in our life. Our life is mostly lived with what? Just we think, our whole thinking is, I'm connecting to Ishvara when I'm what? Praying. When I'm connected to Ishvara
Go
when
to the
I'm
temple.
going to the temple.
Or
I'm
doing
connected
ritual.
to Ishvara when I'm doing some ritual. And the rest of my life, I'm what? I'm what happened? Not connected to Ishvara. You have to change that. You have to change it because when you are acting and you are making the choice of action, if if you are connected to Ishvara, what kind of choices will you make?
Appropriate.
Dharma. Because Ishvara is also in form of dharma. So when you are making right choices in keeping with dharma, you are what? Connecting to Ishvara. Not only when you are praying, when you are making the right choices, you are connecting to Ishvara. When the situations come, and instead of blaming somebody else or blaming myself, if I see what so many causes which may have caused that to happen, and if I am not totally judgmental, I am what?
In alignment with Ishvara.
When my emotions come, instead of trying to block them or ignore them or deny them, when I recognize them and I try to what? Try to understand what are the distortions, and when I try to correct them, I am in
Aligned with Ishvara.
alignment with Ishvara. So that means you need to expand what your relationship with Ishvara.
So
Your
it's like a
relation-
full-time
Absolutely
awareness.
way.
Because it's not like when you go to church or you're doing your rituals, because lots of time we think like that when we are praying,
Exactly.
we are talking to God, but it's a full-time.
It's a full-time.
Awareness, like
Absolutely.
you could be doing anything.
You could be doing
Cooking,
anything.
cleaning, whatever.
Exactly.
Yeah. Talking to anybody.
Absolutely. That is exactly the purpose of this chant. Ishaya Namaha means coming, moving away from this thought that only when I'm in church or I'm in temple, I'm connecting to
With
Ishvara,
God, yeah.
and the rest of my life is not connected to Ishvara. You have to move away from this thinking.
This is what the businessman does. They do the prayer in the morning,
Yeah.
prayer in the evening.
Yeah.
They have a knife here. When they go to business, they cut deals. And all dharmas are finished. Cut deal is finished. How can I make money?
Exactly. So that means the whole
So you are
life-
saying each action that
Action.
you're doing, the decision has to be right in your action to have a proper law of karma, to
Absolutely.
earn punya.
Absolutely.
To be aware of all the time.
Yeah. So that means my life is so intimately connected to Ishvara that there is no aspect of my life which is not touched by Ishvara.
And like you said, sometimes when some incidents happen,
Happens.
and then we don't know what the causes are,
Yes.
but we start blaming the other
Go on the
person.
tangent. Exactly.
Yeah. And then, but if you understand that it's created for a reason or something, because God, Ishvara has,
Absolutely.
you are aligned with it.
You are
Yeah.
aligned.
You don't blame anybody then.
Absolutely. And at the same time, you are proactive about seeing
Yeah, what can I do? Yeah,
Exactly.
to not
Not
have
exactly.
happen again.
Yeah. So that means your connection to Ishvara has to become the most fundamental connection in this Ishvara.
24 hours.
In this world. 24/7
24/7.
it has to become. So what the Swamiji had a nice way of expressing it. He said that every role that we play is only a relative role. So for example,
Relative.
Yeah.
relative role. So that means with reference to my parents, I am a
Son.
or daughter. With reference to my own kids, I am what?
Mother,
Mother,
parent.
father. With reference to my brothers and sisters, I am what? Brother or sister. When I go to work, I'm a boss, either I'm a CEO, I'm owner, or I'm a subordinate. So I play so many different roles. When I play one role, the other role what?
Switch on.
Is switched off. When I play that role, the other role is switched off. So that means every role is a relative role. Because when I'm playing that role, I'm not playing what? Every other role. He said, if you bring Ishvara in your life, and if you understand that Ishvara is the one who has put me at this place, in this time, connected to this people, doing this activity, then when I'm interacting with you, I am what playing my role of, let's say, a father or mother, but it is what a devotee father. Why? Because it recognizes the design of Ishvara, which has what put you in touch with, out of these millions of people in this world,
To be a father or
to be a father
parent.
with only what
That particular
person,
child.
that child.
You can repeat for the benefit of my story. It's very important. This is very important. What is the relative role?
So, every role that we play in this world is a relative role. Relative role means that when you are, with reference to your father, you are what? The son or a daughter. With reference to your own kids, you are what? Mother or father. With reference to your colleagues, you are either a colleague, or with reference to your subordinates, you are a boss. It all with reference to your friends, you are a friend. So that means when you are playing role of a friend, the father
Role
totally
goes off.
disappears. The mother also goes off. The sister's role goes off. So that means that role is a relative role, because it is only with reference to
That person,
that
particular
person, and but not everything else. What our teacher used to say is, but if you bring Ishvara in your life, then what happens is you can say that every role that I'm playing with specific people, did I arrange it?
No.
Did my parents, I was born to these parents. So out of these millions of human beings on this earth, I was born in the home of that person.
Say it again one more time. If you are playing
Yeah.
specific role,
Yeah, so that means when you are playing a specific role, then you are only playing that role and you are not playing something
The other
else.
roles.
Yeah. Now, if you understand that I am connected to this person through what? This whole design of Ishvara. And in this role, there are somewhat to be done. To be done is what? Some action which, if I'm playing a role of a father, then what are my duties? It's also defined. What are the duties? You have to nurture the child, you have to give the values, you have to give financial resources, you have to give love. These are all what?
That is a
The expectations of that role. So that means you have come in this world where the roles and the expectations and the understanding of the expectations are already
set.
it's rather a duty basically.
Exactly. So that is whose order?
God.
Ishvara's.
Ishvara's.
And therefore, when you recognize that, and also the people with whom you are connected, it is not your choice, but it is what?
Ishvara's.
Ishvara's. So that means what happens is, when you have that understanding, what happens is, you are a devotee father, because you understand that that role is not just entirely your creation, it is what? Within a very big design, that you come connected to
That
these
particular.
people and you have to play that particular role, and the script of that particular role is this: everything is given. Everything is given, and that is part of whose design? Ishvara's design. So, therefore, you become what? A devotee father. You become a devotee son. You become a devotee friend. You become a devotee colleague. You become a devotee boss. You become a devotee citizen. You become a devotee whatever. Community.
All role becomes devoted.
All, so that
Pure.
means the roles keep changing. One thing remains constant, and that is what? Your connection with Ishvara. Devotee you. Your connection with Ishvara. So no matter with whom you are
Connected with.
and with whom which role you are playing, there is always a side of what? A bigger design within which you are working.
Because sometimes you meet people and then, whether it's you're doing business or a friend, And people always say like, oh my God, why did I have to meet or interact with that person, or why did I marry this person? But there was some connection, there's something what was been designed for. It's always a purpose that was
There's
already,
always a
like you said, the
Swami
script.
always says everything is given to you in
Yeah.
this world.
Absolutely.
You need to repay back actually.
Yeah.
No, but the script was already written for you, yeah.
Yeah, the script is written. Everything, the people that you are connected with you is given. The body is
The
given.
children that
The
come into your
mind is
family,
given.
everything.
The children are given. So much is given.
So I just wanted to say, so all those are relative, but the one whole is the Ishvara.
Absolutely. One whole is the Ishvara. If you begin to do that, your life will change, the perception will change. Instead of this, what a Faye is saying, this person I don't like, why am I stuck with this person? What will you think? I have been given what?
For a reason.
60, 40, whatever time with this person. By a very big design.
You've got to do your job and get out of it.
Absolutely. You need to do what you need to do. If you keep complaining, it's not going to get you anywhere. You will only mess up the design even more. But if you make use of this time and this opportunity and make what the right choices, you do what you have to do.
That's what free will is given.
That
choice
is what
is given.
free will is.
And also when that person like sometimes has come into your life for a reason, and if
Yeah.
you look at it differently and
Yeah.
say like, look, this is what I have,
Yeah.
this is what,
Absolutely.
then the whole thing changes as well, how you
Changes.
look at it as well. The
Absolutely.
whole attitude changes.
Absolutely. So that means the minute you bring Ishvara in your role playing, you realize that what roles change, one thing does not change, and that is your relationship with Ishvara. And when you do what needs to be done in every relationship, then you're aligning with Ishvara.
Ishvara, exactly.
It is not only when you're praying and only when you're in a temple, when you do what needs to be done, you are in alignment. And different roles demand different
Expectations,
different actions,
actions,
different
choices.
So therefore, this is really the living the vision of oneness. Living the vision of oneness doesn't mean that, oh, everything is just one awareness which is what unchanging and that is limitless. So I keep on repeating to myself, I'm limitless, and become what? Oblivious to what I have to do. That is a problem.
Use in day-to-day life.
The living the vision of oneness means that even though that is a final reality about me, the manifest world is what an intelligent world. And everything is placed intelligently. My form, every other form, and the interactions with those forms. Who do I have to interact? For how long? All that is part of the grand order. And what is expected in that, then when I have to say no, I have to learn to say no. Then I'm in harmony. When somebody is walking all over you and you don't say no, what happens? Are you aligned to Ishvara?
No.
No.
Because your conscience is not with you. You're just putting
Exactly.
You just do make an emotion decision and then you do this.
So that means that doing what is to be done at the right time, that is in alignment with Ishvara. And that could be, we have seen in Bhagavad Gita, it could be what? Arjuna fighting what?
Family.
His family. It happens to be what needs to be done. Even though he was shattered, that had to be done. So therefore, this is what the whole recognizing the right thing to be done and doing what needs to be done is what your alignment to Ishvara. So you free, so that means the devotee in you is always what? It is a non-relative role. It is always there, regardless of which role you are playing. the devotee. It's a constant. This is what we say, that let me move from Ishaya Namaha is what? Relating to some entity called Ishvara, which I think is away from me, and I'm the small at the mercy of this Ishvara, and I have to keep on praying to him, and I have to keep on begging, and he has to kind of what? Oblige me. From that you have to move to this vision by bringing what? The awareness of Ishvara in your mind. You have to move away from that and you have to see the presence of intelligence in what? Everything that you do. And not only everything that you do, but every situation that comes up in your life. Every interaction that you have to do and the demands of that interaction and doing what needs to be done keeps you in what? Alignment with Ishvara. Whole definition of relationship has to change. And that will not happen automatically because we are used to we are used to a totally different model. So till this becomes the reality, we have to what? Keep on what? Reminding ourselves and change our actions and our attitudes with this new vision. That is our growth. The growth in Vedic vision is very intimately connected to your relationship with Ishvara. In normal definition of objectivity, we generally end, what we say is a snake, if there is a rope, and if I see it as snake, then snake is what? Subjectivity. What is objectivity? Seeing rope. This is our normal understanding. What, according to the Vedanta, the real objectivity is stretched further. Even where there is a rope, if I can begin to see what there is, what the atoms and particles, and ultimately what? The intelligent design, Ishvara. So that means it stretches our definition of objectivity not only to rope, but to what? Ishvara. Because any form that is there is what?
Ishvara.
Ishvara.
It is oneness.
Yeah? So that means that when you can understand the presence of that intelligent order which connects everything to everything else, even if you think you are stuck with a wrong person or a wrong situation or whatever, you still have to understand its design of what?
Ishvara.
Ishvara. Nothing is away from Ishvara. Every emotion is also what? Within Ishvara's design.
Yeah, but you have to react.
Exactly. And understanding that situation properly and doing, having the right response is your alignment to Ishvara. Identifying. There is no such rule that everything is Ishvara, therefore I don't do anything. These are the wrong messages we give to ourselves. In fact, the connection with Ishvara means I identify what is to be done and do what needs to be done. That is my alignment. It is not doing anything which is the alignment.
Logically, you think about Ishvara is everywhere.
Yeah.
So you should automatically think of Ishvara in everything you do. That's
Exactly.
logically.
Logically, it's exactly. But see, if you just stay at that level, then you don't quite know what is that everything.
Yeah.
So that means when you break it down like this, then it makes it possible for you to live like that. Otherwise, it's not. It remains an idea.
You said growth is in Vedic vision. You think it is written that?
Yeah. See, growth in Vedic vision is not only to see what rope as a rope, but to see it as what? Manifestation of Ishvara. That means any interaction that I do here, nothing is outside the intelligent design. Nothing.
Now, I hope I can see an Ishvara and I can appreciate if it's done with Yuta or whatever.
With what?
Yuta or
Jute.
Jute. Something like this, so I have a plant that I cut and it makes me this. Now, how can I see further to a bowl which is made out of plastic, petroleum?
See, because even the petroleum is similar. It is
It's
still a natural resource, and it all breaks down to the same thing.
You should not waste it.
Ultimately, every object is, see, everything is Ishvara doesn't mean you have to, see, please understand, everything is Ishvara doesn't mean you have to love everything.
No.
That's not what we are saying. This is what people make a mistake. They don't understand the implications of what is Ishvara. What is Ishvara means what? That there is an intelligent design, and in that intelligent design, this situation presents itself to you. You have a choice either to not recognize the situation properly just from your own subjectivity and act, or you can take time to recognize the situation and do what needs to be done. In that intelligent design, you are given the choice. One is what? Non-alignment. The other one is alignment. The devotee is attempting to what? Align.
Because like he said, like when you see a plastic, because you gave an example, so in that how can you see? But if I look at the plastic and
It's
I think,
also
who's made it, how
Yeah.
did they come about it, because the plastic is used for so many purposes that it is used. But when you look at it, you might just think it's a plastic, but there's plastic. And then you say somebody has designed it.
Exactly.
Who that somebody could be, where did it come? When you trace it down, some intelligence has done it. And that intelligence is, at the end of it, is something.
Or take a proaction towards the plastic if it's on the beach and take it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Disappear.
That is also
Takes
a
25
choice.
minutes to disappear.
Yeah, because then you're at least it's going to contributing in a way to the animal there, the fish and everything.
Yeah, exactly. See, that is what is called for in that situation, and you do what needs to be done. Because you happen to be walking here. You're not going to come from Brazil to clean it up. But right now, you happen to be here, and you see it, and you do what needs to be done.
So how do you develop this kind of relationship to see in every form Ishvara? How one does a practice to reach that level?
See, as I just explained, that generally when you play
Taking
a
all
role
the right decision, keeping that in mind.
yeah, exactly. When you play a role, then you generally don't even know that you are playing the role, and you just continue to be who you are, and you just play your role superficially.
This is what we do. Yeah.
We don't even think about life like that. So you say, okay, now I'm playing a role of a father. What is the best that I can do for my kids? And what is the best for the kids changes over a period of time. What is the best for the kids is different when the kids are what? 5 years old.
Yeah.
And is different when they are
15 years and 20 years.
And is different when they are 45 years old. So recognizing those demands and doing what needs to be done. So if you are acting like the Tolstoy father, you're not playing your role properly. The minute you have awareness of Ishvara, that in that design of things, I'm coming connected to this human being. I can't just read the newspaper and pay no attention to what that child's needs are. That is not aligned with Ishvara.
Yeah, that means in everyday thinking I am devotee and everything else
Everything
is
else is exactly.
and treat it all like
Treat
that.
it all like that.
So that
That is-
reverence.
Yeah, with reverence.
You need to practice.
You need to. And this is why.
Develop attitudes.
Develop attitudes, practice. It's a whole program of reorientation. This getting to this final knowledge is not an easy thing.
No, but these are so practical things.
These are so practical.
You have to.
You have to do it.
Effort is required.
Because
just,
only when all this happens, then the bigger thing becomes becomes...
Then you can at least
then-
get some alignment
Yes.
and start
And
living.
final alignment where you see your total identity with Ishvara will happen. If you miss all this, if you don't do all this, it's impossible. It will just remain some vague
Somewhere,
idea,
yeah,
somehow
exactly.
up in the air. This is why Faye was saying that if you're not ready for Vedanta, when you listen to Vedanta, it may seem like, what is this thing that is being talked about?
It's been researched for thousands of years to reach this.
So that means that it will not resonate.
So in chronology of action, when you have a thought in your mind, and before you act, and if you find that this is not a right action, you cut it off.
Now you have to cut it
That
off.
is why the intellect is given.
Yeah, absolutely.
So subtle level to develop is the most important.
It's the most important. So important. And that development comes with your understanding of Ishvara. So Om Ishaya Namaha, Om Ishaya Namaha. When you begin to see what is my salutation to Ishvara, it is bringing Ishvara in every aspect of my life. Relationship to Ishvara, the definition of relationship to Ishvara has to change from what these prayers, rituals to the see there is no aspect of my life is untouched by Ishvara. This is the growth. This is really the growth. And doing what needs to be done. Once that is done, and you really see your kind of, the more and more alignment you do, the more and more noble you become. When that happens, then there is this final thing which then needs to be worked out, and that is what we call contemplation, nididhyasanam. Nididhyasanam is ultimately then you have to understand what the final equation, where what the Ishvara and I are both what? One awareness. After having done all of that, this is what the last step of meditation, which is we change the name. This is what contemplation, nididhyasana. So this is Vedanta meditation, which is so different from
From the other, right?
all the other meditations.
Other than you just release $10 and take out a cash card. It is a business.
Yeah. So it is nothing about seeing some chakras, and it is nothing about something going from here and making you enlightened. This is all a fantasy world. It is all like children. Somebody is telling you stories, something will happen there, and then it will go out, and then you'll be enlightened. It's like, a 2-year kid is told some fantasy, and the kid will say, yeah, that will happen. It's like that. We adults, we behave like that. We
So
buy-
tomorrow's meditation will be different, Surya.
No, now you
when
understand
say
what
Om
he's
Ishaya
doing.
Nama, you take a little more time, but we are beginners against.
He's doing it all the
Repetition
time.
has to be.
He's talking about Ishvara, he's
I know.
talking about different aspects of Ishvara, he's talking
But
about...
then he gives a little gap and he says, Om Ishaya for us to awake.
He falls asleep.
5 days, I am making you see all these
All.
different dimensions. Difficulty is that, see, to go to contemplation, when we studied, it took us 2 years. To go only to japa and the practice of japa only, we did during 1 year, 1.5 years every day.
Swamiji used to...
And here in 5 days, I'm showing you the whole range.
I appreciate it to wake us up.
You never mentioned is it basic, the breathing and letting go of your body?
So
That's
that is what I
common.
said, that the relaxation. So that relaxation. So that means the Vedanta meditation, so that means if you use meditation along with the teaching, it can what?
Help you reach
Correct.
that.
Help you reach the highest.
That is where the connection comes, the permanent connection comes on a regular basis if you do the meditation.
Absolutely. But if you get stuck in your little definition of meditation, which is thoughtlessness, or just watch the thoughts, this is nothing.
It will give some benefit.
It will give some benefit, but that is what this verse is talking about. We can we can devote our whole life to what our idea of meditation and get nowhere.
Apparently there are some physical benefits also. It lowers your blood
Yeah.
pressure.
It is just little bit quietening down, little bit relaxing.
You become more calmer, relaxing.
Immunity also is strengthened.
And your immunity also is strengthened.
Your concentration is improved. It's true. It happens. It's not like it has zero benefit.
But that's
But
not
what?
the aim.
It's
That's not the
exactly
goal.
like ritual. The ritual is not bad, right? But you can get stuck. That meditation is also like that. You can define meditation narrowly. It will give you some benefits. Like the rituals give you some benefits.
Yeah, but the ritual are negative because they are so abused by all religions.
No, that's okay. But in this case, the ritual that I described, you're actually physically expressing what your connection with the universe, with every different aspect of the universe. But even if you're doing it, still you can go on a tangent. And even if you don't go on a tangent, it starts giving you abundance and all, you get stuck there and you forget your final goal. Meditation, which is not this Vedanta meditation, is also like that. It's said in the 10th verse. That people think meditation is good, meditation is good. It is good, but what is it that you do? What is your meditation? Generally, it's a very narrowly defined meditation, which does some good, but that is not really the purpose of meditation.
It is like you spraying a perfume on you and it's remaining for some time. But
Exactly. It is the same. It will have some benefit of quietness, some effect on your physiology.
Force will not be removed.
But it will then say both karma and meditation are taught like that. It's not like they are totally useless. They are useful. But the same thing which is useful, it can become what? A trap for you to stay there and not move ahead and see something bigger. So meditation by itself, without this teaching, is what? Again a trap. It is like putting a perfume, like what you said. Making it little nicer, but then it doesn't really fundamentally solve anything. So this is the next verse, which is the 10th verse.
That was mind-blowing explanation on meditation.
Yeah.
Open our brain,
Fantastic.
mind, everything. Thank you very much.
Fantastic.
It was very nice.
And that chant, be a devotee, that's like blown my mind.
Yeah.
Even to appreciate that son or the child that has been given to you for that many years is Ishvara. Now, do what you have
Do
to
what
do.
you have to do.
Yeah, this is what
I mean,
always
it's blown my mind. Never thought of it like that.
No, I always say, I always think in a relation, that's why I mentioned that a lot of times, sometimes we say, oh, why did I have this kind of a boss, or why did I have this kind of a, it could be even your house help. But that person has come there for a reason for you. Maybe
that reason
person,
I understood all my life.
No, but that is God sent reason.
Way.
Yeah, but
this way is something else. It's
the
like
reason being that God has sent for a purpose. And you have to understand that. It was only, why did that
don't forget
person
the
come?
purpose. It's just Ishvara.
Play the role with Ishvara.
That's
Yeah. So now the 11th is, so that means all the good things we can do. So here the verse 11 it says, Vidya cha yaha tetat ubhayam taha Avidya mrityum tirtva vidyaya amritam ashnute. So that means the whole life choices are divided into what two categories. One is Vidya and the other one is Avidya. In this category, what is interesting is generally our category of Vidya and Avidya. Surya, how much time do I have?
It's already 6:50.
6:50.
6:50. So we'll do it tomorrow because for today I think this is a lot. Sorry, because now I have only 8
No, we
minutes.
touch a base on it, we can finish.
No, I don't.
No,
know.
it's a 6:50, yeah.
6:15, and see, you need to be fresh because ideas cannot be just skimmed through. We need to stay with the ideas. So we need to be available with following the line. I see people are a little tired. Viresh is all charged and hyped up, but I see on the other faces.
He's wearing my massage.
Yeah.
So everybody else looks tired. So sorry, Viresh. We'll talk about it.
Tomorrow.
I have no problem. I'm ready anytime. I need to finish the text.
It will be finished. Don't worry about
Really,
it.
the hurry to finish the text.
You just told, in the end, you tell us how to lift myself by my own self. All this is passing by. In the end, you have to lift yourself by yourself.
Yeah, that's true.
This is one exercise of that.
Yeah.
Amazing.
This is the process.
Om Purnamada